We're not covering the MRC Roadrunner just yet, but we are covering this really beat up Lego van I made back in 2008. I started out, well, this is really the first Lego RC I ever built, to be honest. It started out no suspension, had like a Traxxas 540 Stinger motor and chain drive that would blow up all the time, and no, like I said, no suspension. About the only thing that I kept over time was the body. So it's the same dimensions I originally started with. Ended up shipping the thing over to a friend of mine while I was trying to figure out what I was going to do moving out. And this is really like right around the time I was trying to, well, it hasn't been touched since I've, well, moved out of my parents' place, and just there's a lot of the cool history of where I was at with this thing. So we're going to go over it now. I've got a few Lego bits out, working on some other projects at the moment, so I'm probably going to, like right after this video, start fixing the bumper and some of the other parts that are actually broken on this. But yeah, I modeled it after a Corvair 95 van. Well, that, well, kind of me and my dad owned, but we never really got too much done because Corvair 95 vans are kind of garbage to work on, but it still contributed to making a really cool little Lego thing. So make a block piece. Everything's really yellowed because it's old, but I might try peroxide or something to get rid of the yellow tanning of this. Over time, I ended up running a Lego, I think it was 9-volt motor, and just making it to where, at first, it was further back, and I had the axle coming out through the main sprocket up higher, and I was having ground clearance issues, so I eventually moved the suspension around and got to where there's more ground clearance. I've just got one monoshock in the back just because of how the rear motor and everything kind of flexes around with how I ended up adapting these like pan car wheels I had sitting around. So there wasn't really any room to make any more suspension than that. And as you'll see up here, this actual A-arm is kind of broken. So that's a big part of why I haven't really started fixing it yet. It's just there's a lot of old stuff like this and just design issues that I wouldn't do now if I built this, but it's really cool to see this piece of history from where I was at back then. So you'll see basically where I first tried to, hold on a second. The camera's not on to focus, but you'll see where I notched half the width of a Lego piece out to tie in together those 4 tall by 2 wide Lego stud or Technic pieces to make it where I had a really strong front like bulkhead for the suspension to mount to. So yeah, big thing, go over, fix some of the design issues, make it where I'm probably going to have like actual hobby grade steering turnbuckles and try and tighten up some of the suspension and just steering. I might leave the bumper the way it used to be, because me and my dad used to just take like his like Team Losi micro team and this thing and see which one could actually like race around before they would break. So usually this thing would beat it, but it would always have parts broken off it from the mini team. There's a lot of cool history with this that I don't have a good way of explaining. It's just something really sentimental to me that I wanted to really show you guys, because like there's just dumb stuff where I didn't have a lot of Legos at the time, but yet I made where I had these little apron pieces on the edge. I tried to sculpt the roof, and just there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. And then if you look really far in here, if I can get the camera to cooperate, you'll see where I ended up tying in a servo to the Technic. So if I do this, you'll see the tire over here turn a little bit. So if I do that again, see? So there's things like that. I'm gonna eventually make it where I have more steering control and some other things improved, and maybe even like some oil shocks. I don't really know. It's just a piece of history that I will definitely be getting to very soon, possibly this evening, since I've got like a bunch of Legos over off the screen. That's a mess. And yeah, I'll bug you guys later about this, but there'll be an update on it soon. Later.